All right, moving on to lesson 2.8, the reciprocal property. A lot of you guys are very, very, very familiar with the reciprocal property. But we're going to get down to some nitty-gritty things like we always do. Our essential question is, can you simplify expressions involving reciprocals? This is also called the multiplicative inverse, but typically you guys remember reciprocals. 5 times 1/5 is 1. 4/5 times 5/4 is 1. This isn't even shown as a fraction, but how funny is this if you think about it in fraction form? I'll tell you why, because negative 5/4 is equivalent to negative 1.25 and negative 4/5. So you wouldn't even think of that. I didn't. But that's also equal to 1. And 1 times 1. Yes, the reciprocal of 1 is 1. Let's take note that 0 has no reciprocal because 0 times any number is 0. Let's say that again. 0 times any number is 0, not 1. Property of reciprocals says A times 1/A is 1. 1/A times A is 1. Property of the reciprocal of an opposite of a number. I get this question a lot, but we're going to talk a little bit about negatives. Negative 1/A is equal to 1/-A, which is equal to negative 1/A. In that case, the reciprocal of negative A is negative 1/A. So my question that I get all the time is students always ask me, can I write negative 1/2 as negative 1/2? Yeah. I can also write that as 1/-2. And I probably should have been a little bit more clear on the left side. It could be negative on the outside. So remember that all of these are the same. The time that you can't write it, you can't write negative 1/-2 because that's not negative. That would be a positive. So you can't write it like that. All right, the property of a reciprocal of a product is kind of just telling us that we can split up numbers. So if I have 1/AB, I can split that up into 1/A times 1/B. We never think about splitting it up. Like 1/20 can be split up into 1/4 times 1/5. We usually just think about multiplying this way, but we can split things up. We're going to look at a few. Notice these are a couple different examples. This is just multiplication. When I multiply, I know these 9s can cancel out, and my answer here is just M. For the next one, oh, look, I have 2 negatives, so I know that the answer will be positive. 8 goes into 64 8 times. 8 times 1 is 8, AB. Example 4, this is sometimes where students can get stuck, so let's make sure we pay attention to detail on questions like this. This is telling us we need to take negative 1/6 and multiply it by negative 24x. Keep the sign, don't forget to keep the sign, and take that negative 1/6 and multiply it by 6y. Eventually you won't have to write it all out, which will be great. Notice 2 negatives will make a positive. 6 goes into 24 4 times, so that will just be 4x. Plus a negative times a positive is negative, so if you show that negative, make sure you put it in parentheses. 6 and 6 can cancel out, so that will just be negative y. What is another way that I could show this answer? 4x plus negative y. I can also show it as 4x minus y. I can also show it as negative y plus 4x. My favorite is this one, but all three are correct.